You're going to read the text, answer the study questions, and that particular text, does the internet make you dumber, is written in a style that you need to adopt, okay? Where the source is integrated into the sentences, all right? So we're not doing parentheses at the end of a sentence. We call that parenthetical citation. We're putting it in the sentences, okay? And you can easily see where the information is coming from, and it makes sense in sequence of the discussion. Okay, so just take note of how this particular article is written. The other thing is you're going to be studying the principles and writing down 2 tips of focused paragraphs. Those are analysis paragraphs, which typically give students the most trouble. So I'll say a couple things about them. The first problem or error that one can make is beginning with a topic sentence that is overgeneralized and impossible to, you just end up saying general things about general things, and that's no fun. It's no good. We don't want it in academic writing. We want to zoom in and amplify a smaller point. Okay, so you know how you do that you go in, you take a look at one small thing, and then you write about that. So the paragraph includes an introduction of what the point was from the text, and then it has a topic sentence which integrates a quote or context about what the idea is, and then you have original insight that you bring to this very particular part of the topic. Okay, so there's lots of instructions there, and you really have to read them and absorb them. So hopefully writing down 2 tips that you think will help you hang on to this guidance, this coaching of how to do this. I can't rewrite things for you. I occasionally I'll offer a sentence or something, but I have to really kind of curb myself and make sure that all the information is there, but it is a little bit of a wrestling match to make sure that you choose a topic that you can stay on the point, that your example and insight. Now, remember, insight can be an analogy. You come up with some new way of looking at it, or it could be your own experience that bolsters it or perhaps undercuts it. Depends on, what you're thinking. So either way, you have to make an interesting, insightful point about something in there. And if you're a little stumped, it can just be in support of an idea. Say, I have experience that, and then you write down, you include a personal experience. Look at the examples. There's also examples in the modules that are student essays all over the place. People have had great ideas. So make sure you look at them. And that's that. So just 2 things this week, which is the study questions and the 2 tips. But the 2 tips are really, this is your chance. You got to understand it, because from here on in, you're going to need to execute it. And it's kind of hard. You have to, now remember, if you do a topic sentence and you write this whole paragraph and your head kind of explodes and you reread it, which you must. I make that mistake sometimes. I don't reread something I've written and I'm like, whoops. You reread it, you're like, oh no, the content doesn't match what I said the paragraph was about. So you have to either revise the topic sentence or the content. You got to really think from the ground up. Just because you wrote something down doesn't mean it's going to work, so you got to be kind of flexible, cut left, go right, depends on what the defense is doing. Okay, so next week, rough draft is due, and it's only whatever you want to turn in. I'm very flexible on this. You can be working on your essays right now. The module that has it's open. You can look at what the instructions are. It should not be a surprise at all. You're going to write an introduction. You're going to write a summary paragraph that gets the reader up to speed. And you're going to take 2 interesting small points from the text you've chosen and give us something to think about, and then a conclusion. Conclusions are also, there's instructions on how to do them. You don't just reiterate the things you've already said. That's not happening. You point to the future. There's other things. Conclusions, I think you can just read the instructions and pretty much do them. Focus paragraphs are a little bit harder. Last thing about them is whatever words you use, they have to be narrow enough so that it's only part of what is going on in a given text. They have to be narrow. And if you're writing about that childhood impressions are made early and they have great impact. That's Adichie writes about that or talks about that. Make sure that that verbiage is present in the paragraph in more than one place. And that's what creates connectivity. And that your point gets made and then it reappears at the end. So you really need to remember that whatever you announce the paragraph to be about, or whatever's announced, is logically sequenced and connected throughout the whole paragraph. It's the difference between making a soup where you have like 3 ideas in one, you're not really on one, you're sort of got 3 tossing around, or that's a soup, or you're making a carefully layered sandwich. Got the lettuce, you got the tomato. So these analysis paragraphs are about one thing only, all right? And they contain original insight, etc. So study them, write 2 tips, read the essay, keeping in mind that it's a style of writing you're going to want to internalize a bit, where you've got studies and all that, because you do have a research paper that comes at the end, and that's the mode. All right. So that's it. Should be a good week. And that's that. Start your essays already. If you want to submit a paragraph from your rough draft, you can do it early. There's no problem. And if I've said anything about tutoring, make sure that you seek it out before it's a scramble. Although sometimes scrambling gives you energy. I don't know.